Is this good? One product. Is that an ad?
You know how they're saying that the Holocaust didn't even happen? It happened, and it's going to happen again if we keep this up.
They're getting free stuff when our own veterans and homeless are on the streets, where others are getting hotels.
Here in America, we only have Americans. We don't need to be a country dominated by foreign illegal immigrants.
Where are you from, man?
Brazil.
They believe, yeah, we're coming over for a better life. They're still breaking our laws. Sorry, I don't want you here.
Yeah, we need it to stop.
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to say we're out of jail. Got a new windscreen for the microphone. As you can see, we have 2 nice new cameras. And I'm here because I've been hearing a lot about a civil war.
Are we on the brink of another civil war?
A war on our southern border, the Texas border.
Civil war this, civil war that. Well, we're here on the front lines of the battleground, Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, Texas. And as you can see, we got some National Guard troops right here. Got the army out here with Dracos, dumpers, and shiesties. And then beyond that is the Rio Grande, AKA the border to Mexico. Now this all began, if I'm not mistaken, because of some razor wire.
Supreme Court decision will allow Border Patrol agents to cut razor wire.
Biden doesn't want the razor wire. Abbott wants the razor wire. So you got these guys.
And these guys are members of the Texas state.
Isn't it like there's no gray area that thing, right? If people want unregulated, on whatever, like people just walk in, then you would be in favor of like having no border and having a bridge and everybody just walks in, right? Because anything else is, I think it's like at the top it's like more black and white, right? You either want everybody to just walk in or to be regulated. There's no gray area. Any gray area is stupid.
State Guard, aka the Tea Patchers, who were basically sent by Governor Abbott to secure the park and
I think this is the
stop
only thing
Border
that
Patrol,
exists.
who operates under federal authority, from taking down the razor wire.
Dracos, dumpers, and shiesties.
Like what?
Anyways, while this ongoing feud between federal and state forces is quite fascinating, it's not why we traveled back to Eagle Pass. We came back because we heard through the grapevine that 70,000 truckers...
700,000 vehicles? That's the prediction here.
Oh, sorry, 700,000 vehicles, who refer to themselves as God's Army, were headed there to show solidarity with Texas.
The Take Our Border Back convoy is headed there for a rally planned for Saturday.
So naturally, we showed up at Shelby Park on February 3rd, bright and early, hoping to get some action. However, there were only a couple patriots there. Here's what they had to say.
Guys, what are we thinking?
I think it's important we protect our border. I think it's important we protect the U.S. citizens.
Yeah, we're worried about our safety.
The question is the razor wire really an adequate deterrent?
I don't know. I never tried to cross it. It would deter me.
You ever been a teenager and hop a barbed wire fence to escape the cops after leaving a house party or something?
No, never have.
I have, and apparently you just put cardboard on the top of the barbed wire. But that's barbed wire. I think razor wires are more sinister.
I think it's a little more.
Electric fence? Maybe that would be better?
I mean, if you got a problem with the immigration policy, then fix it. But you don't fix it by just opening up the borders and letting people walk in. You got to have a plan. What are you going to do with all these people when they come in, right? You got to have a plan for these people. You can't just let them walk in and then what?
I mean, this guy's kind of reasonable. What?
The street. That's no better life. I mean, if you want to give them a better life, have a plan. Have a plan for
this guy's
when they
personally
come
reasonable.
in, right?
Yeah.
My goal with this segment is not to ridicule, but rather to reach common ground with the people in the God's Army convoy, who, like me, are scared about the future of this country and willing to travel to Eagle Pass to see what's going on. And in my case, even translate the entire episode into Spanish to make the content more digestible to a Latin American audience.
Hola, mi nombre es Andrew Callahan y estás mirando Canal 5.
Canal 5, una programa de los Estados Unidos originalmente en inglés.
Hoy estamos en Eagle Pass. Puedes mirar, México está aquí. Oímos sobre una guerra civil. ¿Qué pasamos con la guerra civil? Vamos a preguntarle a la gente.
Creo que es importante que protejamos nuestra frontera.
Sí, es un problema de seguridad.
Mira, tenemos el army aquí con Dracos, armas y shiesties. If you want to check this out, go to our channel, Canal 5.
Canal 5.
Link in bio. Anyways, back to searching for common ground with the Patriots. They'd already said something I agreed with, which is that our country does not have the infrastructure to support this mass influx of undocumented migrants, and that if President Biden truly wants to support these people, he ought to make the path to citizenship an easier process.
You feel like does anybody really expectation of what life's going to be like here?
I don't think it's unreal.
I think they're expecting to come here and get a lot of stuff for free, and that's exactly what they're getting, is a lot of stuff for free. And we've got veterans that are homeless. I'd much rather donate to a veteran than to see my tax dollars going to this.
So do you guys feel like the VA benefits are seriously behind?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm not a vet, but I know a lot of vets, and, you know, all they talk about is, you know, the forever line to get service from the VA, so.
Yeah, because I see a lot of, like, obviously homeless veterans, but I always wasn't sure if they were actually homeless or if that was just a panhandling strategy.
That could be. I'm sure there's some of that. Yeah, and there's various reasons why people are homeless. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do to the population. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't want to conform, right? They're going to want to be homeless just because that's the way they are.
Hey, well, thank you guys so much for the interview. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for your time. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. What do you think about state sovereignty,
what?
sir?
It's a constitutional thing. I mean, if the government's not going to take care of us and secure our borders, states have the right to be able to do it. And we were both there in D.C. for January 6th.
What do you think is the biggest danger posed by illegal migration?
Brother?
The economy is one, but the deaths and the crime that's taking place is atrocious.
A group of 5 men have been arrested, accused of attacking a group of New York City police officers.
According to the New York Post, those who were arrested and charged are migrants who were then released without bail.
Elderly are totally afraid. This is not what our country is.
How can we be so sure about that?
I couldn't hear you.
How can we be so sure about that?
About what? I love my wife.
I love my husband. He's not covered.
After 27 years.
Remember, I'll tell you, Chad, that this is like, it's so bad that like reporting about it is almost even worse. Because like, what if there's a message to everybody else like, oh, if you do dumb shit and you're undocumented, then fuck it. I mean, there's a good chance you're gonna get away like that. No?
Of hanging together one another.
Well, I'm just. What about?
What do you think's the
Guys,
main
is
factor
that just
that
like
kept you guys together for so long?
Communication, hashing problems out.
So whenever you guys kind of bump heads, you always talk it out?
Am I not right?
We have a spoon.
Guys.
Whoever has a spoon gets to talk first.
Oh, so you actually regulate talking time?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's a great way.
Isn't that like saying like, oh, dude, look at all these guys. They just robbed the fucking CVS and they robbed everything and they were not fined. They were not jailed. They're being let go with a verbal warning. You see that, you listen to that, and you're on the street and you're poor, right? What do you think? Shit, I'm really, really hungry. What happens if I go there and I steal some bread? I might just get away with it.
And then this way
No?
you have to pair it back what the other person's feeling.
And listening to your spouse or.
Listen, cover it up. I'm just saying, like.
You quiet when they're talking and he'll quiet when you're talking and not be bumping heads to each other.
I hope to have a wife one day too. Thank you so much, and I wish you guys infinite more years of marriage. Have a nice day.
After interviewing the happy couple, I started to get a bit discouraged. The news said there would be 700,000 people here, but there were probably only 25 people. And in fact, more journalists than there were patriots. Surely this couldn't be the end point of God's Army's convoy. Then, from out of nowhere, a red-haired patriot told me the convoy meetup spot had moved to a secret location north of town.
The trucks are not coming this way from the convoy.
How come?
Because we are not engaging in anybody coming across the border. It's simply a exercise of our First Amendment right to free speech and gather. So you.
Okay, chat. I want you to pay attention, okay? Chat, this is my final thing of this video, okay? Guys, the reason I said that is that there are some things about like the media and how things are reported and what it causes, right? And I know I'm gonna sound crazy. I want you to go look, okay? Maybe down the line, okay? Or just pay attention in the future. What happens when there's a chase in LA? Right? And you say, oh, what about, well, yeah, we see them all the time. No, you don't. When there's one chase in LA, right? So you notice there's usually one the day after. And there's usually another one the day after that. And they're very condensed, right? There's a legitimate impact, right? There's a phenomenon that makes it so after a chase, you're getting another one and another one. One impacts the other. And when it stops, it kind of stops for a little bit. And then they happen again in a condensed way. That's just how it is, right? And unfortunately, it's also the way things are reported. It's the same with shootings. And I'm not just making shit up. It's legitimately true. It actually is.
Probably, you may see individuals from the convoy down here, but you won't see any trucks.
How come?
It's the way things are reported.
We are exercising our First Amendment right to free speech. We don't need to be getting involved with anything that these gentlemen are doing. They're doing their job. They're trying to protect the United States and the unique conflict that we have down here. We don't need to be involved with that. What we need to do is stand up and exercise our First Amendment right to free speech and gather.
So what's up?
Same shit.
Whatever.
every day.
Hell yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too, love.
This all began reminding me of a different convoy that I followed about 2 years ago, for over 2,000 miles from Arizona to Washington, D.C., to show solidarity with the Canadian Freedom Convoy. To be honest, it was fun.
Oh, shit. Get down, Willie Brown!
Again! I can't.
Good to see you. You too, Andrew.
I can't do it anymore.
And as we got closer and closer to D.C., the vibes intensified, which made for some great content.
Are you an American? Do you believe in freedom? And are you
to the video, my bad.
to fight for it?
Even then, it doesn't work.
But right as we almost arrived to Washington, D.C., the convoy organizers diverted all the truckers to a small campground in Hagerstown, Maryland. And the next morning, woke everyone up to tell us we'd been infiltrated by outside agitators.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It was concerns of reports that we were getting last night coming in here. There were concerns about people trying to come into the gate that didn't belong here, if you know what I mean. This is the people's convoy. This
Like
is for
spies.
the people.
United we stand. Freedom!
Upon first glance, this may seem strange, but it's not. This is the typical playbook for the post-January 6th hyper-paranoid conservative right, and here's how it works. Someone in the community, in this case, Lee Dundas from Orange County, California, or in the case of the Defend the Border convoy, Vince Sabin from Cape Cod, Massachusetts,
From Cape Cod.
Nice.
will convince hundreds of
Good
their
chips,
friends
though.
to essentially carpool to a political flashpoint and claim that God himself is guiding them.
What made you want to do this?
God. It's good against evil. The battle's begun.
Then they'll create a website to drive as many donations as humanly possible in a short period of time.
How do you guys raise funds for this whole thing?
It's thepeoplesconvoy.org, and the good, law-abiding, God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans who want to support them, they've been going there to donate.
Through
Oh my
insurrectionary
God.
and biblical language, they use the convoy as a tool to drive donations for some kind of holy war. Then, at the last second, right before they might do something potentially criminal, they claim to be
I don't think they pay
infiltrated
taxes
by
on
the
that.
FBI or Antifa. And then they draft an entirely new plan.
Over the next several hours, lots of planning is going to be occurring behind the scenes.
In the case of the People's Convoy, they said the new plan was to do 45-mile-an-hour loops around the Beltway, which, for those unfamiliar, is a suburban circular interstate system that orbits the unincorporated suburbs around DC. So, to be honest, I expected the Defend the Border convoy to have a similar underwhelming finale, but still, I wanted to see what was up.
It's convoy time, bitch. Nah, that's kind of a weird vibe. It's convoy time, bro. It's convoy time, buddy. It's convoy time, fool. Imagine that's the new vibe.
We were told the convoy was set to arrive in the backyard of a small Bible camp in about 2 hours, and were given the coordinates to a super remote location, pretty much out in the farmland.
The coordinates?
Ovejas. Ovejas.
What's up, guys? We're out here again at the border, pretty close to Eagle Pass, but not quite Eagle Pass. We're in a town called Quasimodo. Is it called Quasimodo? Is that how you pronounce it?
The
Quasimodo.
Hunchback.
It's about 15 miles north of Eagle Pass, and we're here for a very special occasion. I
What
don't know
the
if
fuck?
you guys heard, but there's a convoy pulling up here.
No, that's hard, chat. A cross on wheels?
Occasion. I don't know if you guys heard, but there's a convoy pulling up here in about 1 hour. They're here to protect the border, they're here to save Americans, and they're here to do God's
That's
work.
kinda gangsta.
And, a rally in that park right there. This park is called the Children's Ranch, but it's not for kids, it's for all ages. However, it is marketed primarily to Christian children as a place to get away from our increasingly divided society.
It reminds me of the,
videos including
it reminds me of the
Jesus,
TikTok chat that.
and adventures at home.
Ma'am, how are you doing?
The gap.
What's going on?
Not much. What's up?
When's the convoy supposed to get here?
In about an hour and a half or so.
Chris
What do you
Air.
think's the importance of this convoy right now?
The support that Americans and people across the world, really, we've got Canada, UK, Australia. You've got people coming from all across the world to stand with Texas on its border crisis and the issues that we have here. We are a state that can stand on its own. We don't want that, though. We want America all together to help us stop the crisis of illegal
Texas
crossing
on its own.
of our southern
Oof.
border. They're not processing them appropriately. They're not vetting them. They're not doing the proper paperwork that needs to be done, and we're being overflowed with these people that we have no idea.
I mean, the grid is
A
fucking
lot of
dog
them are
shit.
here for good. for their families to work.
I mean, the
for
grid
a new
is a
life,
piece of
for
shit.
The American dream, but they're not vetted, not all of them. So not
I'm
all
pretty sure
of
it
them,
relies
as
on
we
other
all
states
know.
too,
We've
no?
heard in the news, we've got several terrorists that have come through the wall.
151 migrants with positive terrorism watch list matches were arrested after crossing into the U.S. illegally.
Yeah, we need it to stop.
You know how they're
It's
saying
private,
that
but I
the
think it's
Holocaust
connected.
didn't even happen? It happened, and it's going to happen again if we keep this up. Preside dementia and quid pro Joe and crackhead Hunter. He's got to
Oh no, I
go.
can't do this then.
Doing business in foreign nations, stealing, cheating, lying implications. You're written.
This is an original song?
Sight.
I love it.
Government is ran by a bunch of crooks using the working man's checkbooks. Following the money.
She kinda looks nice for her
Shouldn't
age,
be
though.
hard. It leaves our pockets for their waste yard.
Right now, a group with the intention of stopping migrants from entering the U.S. heads to border towns,
What?
including one near Eagle Pass.
As the sun
admire
began to
some of these
shine, the
looks.
trucks began arriving. And though their numbers were few, everyone was eager to talk.
I'm sick and tired of our government. You know, Joe Biden he's part of the problem, but he's just the front man.
Here in this world, small and medium-sized business and startups are getting into action as well.
That's all that is.
Yeah.
He's a front man. Somebody else is running the country. And who? Is it Obama?
How do you think you've seen the country change in your lifetime?
Oh my God. You got time? Well, right now, I mean, number one, people don't even have manners anymore.
It's the latest viral craze.
True.
People yelling, put them in a coffin, then crossing their arms over
Wait.
their chest and jumping backwards onto the hood of a car.
Wait, no shot. Guys, I've said that like a couple months ago, guys. I brought back the fucking Vine, put him in a coffin. No shot. They brought that shit back.
Yelling, put them in a coffin, then crossing their arms over their chest and jumping backwards onto the hood of a car.
I did. We watched it together.
Causing hundreds of dollars
You
worth
guys
of
said
damage.
We've seen
it was
the
not funny
change
and
in
dumb.
morals.
Mm-hmm.
There's only two genders.
It's old. It's
if
like-
a man has a penis,
it's
you
like
know very well he's
10
a
years
man.
old.
And I've got that out there too. Y'all can hear that one online. If a person has a penis, you know very
The guy
well
died,
he's a
apparently.
man. Period. If a person has a nutsack, he's a man.
Oh my.
He can tuck it to conceal it, let it dangle and reveal it. If a person has a nutsack, he's a man. This is my cousin Sandy.
Hey, great to meet you.
glad to
Andrew,
meet you.
good to meet you too.
Upon further research, it appeared that these two women were a part of a traveling rap duo called the Snapping Grannies.
Thank you, Father, for these two ladies and what they do, Lord. As much as they travel, we just pray a hedge of protection that would go with them, Lord, and you keep them safe. And thank
Hold
you.
on now.
Sean Hannity and Tucker.
Now he's been some fun this one. Hold on.
The snapping grannies, because we like to snap out about whatever is on our mind. You don't have to agree with us, but we certainly hope to make you think.
Politically correct
this
nursery
is
rhymes, yo.
God's creation. This is how we believe. God's creation. This is His world, and we're all from God. That's what I believe. And so it's God's will that will be done. But we can't just sit back and take it. We've got to come out and voice it.
We came to glorify the name above every other name, and His name is Jesus. And He's the only one who can save us. And so, God, let peace just cover.
Donald
God,
Trump,
meet them
please.
right here,
Save me,
God.
Donald Trump.
Right here,
Save
Lord,
me.
you brought them here. They are here. They are at our gates. Lord, silence every enemy right now, God. Spirit of counsel, spirit of wisdom. No spirit but your Holy Spirit has any kind of power, God.
And again, His will is what is leading us. Ask me some more questions.
But I guess, I mean, what makes you believe that God's will, like, how does that play into what's going on at the border? Because, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people struggling coming into the country, and my thought is,
We're
okay,
full.
you know,
There's a bunch
maybe
of places that are like
lives.
shitholes that nobody.
And I appreciate that. I know that. Back when I'd be younger, I would go over into Mexico, meet the most wonderful, beautiful people.
Chat, I think a good political something that'd be good, like a political movement, is like the American dream. Everything's nice, the pop culture, LA so cool, so rich, whatever. I think we need to do the opposite. I think you need to start saying it how it is. LA and shit like that is a big dog shit pile of smog, despair, absolute death and corrosion. It is disgusting, despicable. Run for your life. You gotta put that into the pop culture. People need to really get it. It's
I mean, they're
Shrek
great.
Swamp.
I love fishing over Mazatlan. The young people now, they're not
Tell
seeing
'em.
that. They don't see what's going on. They need to see a third world country and then know that the opportunities they've been given here have been wasted for most of them. Still being wasted.
You know, we don't mind them coming over here, but just do it
going
legally,
back, but
Yeah. Legally.
not illegally.
Yeah, that's all we ask. We ask
I can
for that.
afford to be that
I guess
stupid.
the idea is because the citizenship process takes so long, a lot of people just figure, I don't want to wait 24 months to get a response on the application. Let me just get here however I can.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I understand it, but they're also being played. They're being played. Our government, they could care less about them really getting here, except for they want them to be able to vote. That's what they want. They want the vote, and they are paying just about anything for it. And you hear them, oh, Biden, he's great.
He's a good president with so much help that he's given us.
And the people are tired
Who's
of it.
translating
I just
this?
think that we are very, very tired of it. I'm tired of them taking my Social Security money and giving it to someone that's illegal. I would be better off to go to the border, cross over, come back as an illegal, and I would get money every month. I would get a place to live. They're going to pay for it. They're going to give me a free phone. They're going to give me an iBot. What do you call those?
iBot?
machines, play games on, whatever.
Like a PlayStation Portable or a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that
yes.
one. I got it in the back.
Anyways, they'll give me that and
iBot.
maybe other stuff.
They're giving all the free things away, but what they're losing in giving that free away, they're giving up our freedom here.
Right.
What?
And that's what's wrong with it.
In this conversation, I saw a decent opportunity to learn something new. I realized that I had no idea what Social Security even was. But it appeared that the program's underfunding was the motivating factor behind their desire to be politically active.
She could have worded that way
about
better.
this issue.
That was not
too
it.
familiar with Social Security programs. So after you retire, do you get a monthly check from the government?
If you work your ass off,
Yeah.
And it depends how much you've made through the years.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's like a sliding scale depending on how hard you worked throughout your life.
And the last 5 years of your job is what you really get paid on,
That's
not
right.
what you've done in the past, but the last 5 years.
So what's the typical Social Security payout?
well, it depends on what you're doing. Right now, I mean, mine's livable, but that's about it.
Like maybe $2 or $3 grand a month?
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
She's
I
not-
mean, I know people that's getting maybe $500 a month.
Okay.
I mean, how can you even live on $1,000 a month?
Especially now.
Yeah,
right.
I make $1,200 a month. Can you live on $1,200 a month?
I mean,
According
if
to
you
data
mix that
from
with
the
your
US
savings and
government,
where you live with the
average
cost of
monthly
life, you
check
could
given
probably
out by
make
the
it.
Social Security Administration to retired Americans is around $1,800, which is far below the average monthly cost of living in America, which is about $5,100. For their entire life, the snapping granny in America, which is about $5,100. For their entire life, the snapping grannies were sold the lie that after a lifetime of being a good worker, the government would finally take care of them after they retire. But the government did not. And now here they are, in their mid-70s, living beneath the
$5K a
poverty
month
line, yet spending
on
whatever
average
disposable income
cost of
they
life?
had left over to travel from Trump rally to Trump rally, promoting their rap songs, and complaining about immigrants on Facebook.
$450,000
Chad, that's like $95,000 pre-tax.
Given to those illegals.
We barely can make it on our Social Security.
But Social Security
Dementia
checks were the same
Biden.
under Trump as they are now under Biden. So this begs the question: what the hell is
Wait,
going
I'm right.
on, and
Is
who
it-
is exploiting their very
$5,000 a month, 12 months a year. That's $60,000 pre-tax. You need to make it at least like $90,000. $90,000.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
That's
very valid grievances to make them think this way. You'd think that experiencing their condition would cause them to advocate for more expansive social welfare programs that take proper care of the elderly, veterans, the homeless, and people experiencing mental
Average, not
illness.
median,
But
true.
on the cusp of what could potentially be a shocking yet unifying revelation that two-party electoral politics exist primarily to subdue class consciousness, divide people into politicized consumer groups, and program Americans with the illusion of democracy while maintaining and preserving power for the ruling class. They're psychologically manipulated by the media to channel their anger away from the system itself and toward immigrants, who are propped up by conservative media as today's scapegoat. But tomorrow, it'll be something else. Like drag queens in Portland, shoplifters in San Francisco, Satanists in Massachusetts, overweight people on magazine covers, black Disney characters, and beyond. Whatever it takes to keep an even half of the American voting population completely infuriated about something that has absolutely no impact on their life is whatever the media will push. And it goes both ways. For example, at the trucker convoy rally, there were just as many mainstream journalists as there were patriots. And most of them, from what I could gather, are members of the mainstream Democrat press, who I assume are there to produce fear-mongering, Trump-bashing hit pieces for cable TV. Which makes sense, because the Democratic establishment needs a scapegoat too.
Who the fuck is...
MAGA is perfect.
Who the fuck is that? Guys,
which makes sense, because the Democratic
who the fuck is this?
Establishment needs a scapegoat too, and MAGA is perfect. But it all serves the machine. It's the three-headed
Alibaba
snake of
Trump.
Politicians, mainstream media outlets, and of course, the full-blown grifters who organize events like this one to sell t-shirts and drive donations to their website.
It sounds like maybe there's a world in which Social Security can be raised and you could still help migrants out, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other.
That isn't that. That isn't that. Because you know why? We all have to pull our own weight. And when you see them coming across that border, they don't have to have a passport. They have nothing. We have to be, I have to do a photo screen where they do your face recognition.
Oh, no.
And all that. I have to have that passport.
She had to do the photo. Oh!
We got to have all kinds of identification. And we sure as heck got to have some money to pay for it.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're not
the
paying.
photo.
And you're talking about the Social Security, I don't mind telling you. I do about probably $1,600 a month.
I wondered if everybody at the rally was just a retired person who can't afford milk or something. After all, the median age appeared to be between 50 and maybe 65, but that couldn't be the only perspective. So I began walking around by myself looking for somebody my age to maybe talk to.
So sick.
Very quickly, I located a young man who appeared to be an immigrant himself, wearing an I identify as non-binary shirt. So I figured I would talk to him.
Here in America, we only have Americans. We don't need to be a country dominated by foreign illegal immigrants that are being released from jail. We like immigrants, but we don't like criminals. So what are those people doing here? Well, they're coming to support another criminal, the biggest criminal of the time, Joe Biden. They're being used. They're being used as pawns for communism.
You said what?
As pawns, as
even
like
I understood that.
Some sort of
Peons
tools for communism.
Oh, pawns, like on a chessboard.
Yeah, exactly, pawns. Under communism, Biden's regime.
No.
For sure. Where are you from, man?
No.
From, Brazil.
No, you get it right. Peons. Chat. Guys, when you play Warcraft 3 and you're playing orcs, you have to train peons from the main building, bro.
Brazil.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Cool. Why did your family immigrate to the U.S. in the first place?
Well, my family immigrated to America because Brazil had we can call a reset, a financial reset, around 1990 when I was born. So they decided to come and visit and see if it would be a nice place. That's when I was born. And then they went back to Brazil, and that's where I was raised. So I grew up in Brazil, and now I'm back. But I always had patriotism towards America, even though growing up there.
Yeah. What do you think America represents in comparison to somewhere like Brazil?
Well, America represents hope.
Wait.
America represents a nation that is a light to the world, a light of Christianity, a light of peace. With Trump.
Don't you feel like a lot of immigrants who come here are trying to embrace that way of life?
Yes, but I'm talking about the ones that are coming legally. The ones that are coming illegally are definitely being moved by the Democratic Party. They definitely are getting a lot of money. They definitely are bringing children that are kidnapped into the United States. They're bringing drugs, fentanyl. A lot of immigrants are coming to America and bringing fentanyl. They're trying to destroy America.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say that I think the drugs are coming in regardless of the people crossing like that. No?
America is infiltrated by communists, transgender communists that are within our military ranks trying to dictate their agenda. And I'm not against anyone doing anything they want.
The conservative obsession with trans and non...
Bro, what?
Gender communists that are bringing fentanyl, they're trying to destroy America. America is infiltrated by communists, transgender communists that are within our military ranks trying to dictate their agenda. And I'm not against anyone doing anything they want.
The conservative obsession with trans and non-binary people was strange to me, especially given the fact that it was a border rally. But still, it seemed to be their number one issue. But it's not something I particularly want to give much airtime to. As I stated earlier, one of the goals of this shoot was to establish common ground and mutual understanding, not to help misled people spread hate. And one of the easiest common grounds I could find is that many migrants have been programmed with a false expectation of what their life will be like in America. But still, some people at the Convoy believe that even if these migrants are honest people, looking for a better life and being deliberately misled, they're still criminals and should be treated as such.
This may not be a popular opinion, but I was talking to some friends about this the other day, and what they told me is, well, it's really not their fault because they're being misled, they're being told these things. And I said, wait a minute. It's kind of like if I go to work and I decide, my boss tells me, hey, you should steal. Well, if I'm stealing, I'm still guilty. These migrants coming over lying, saying, hey, I need asylum. If you ask them why they're coming over, they're coming for economic reasons, not for asylum at all. So they're lying and they're breaking our laws. So as far as I'm concerned, they are guilty criminals as well. Doesn't mean I don't have compassion for them, but I don't think anybody has a right to break our laws, and that's what they're doing. They're coming in because Biden said, hey, come on in. He invited them in, but they are knowingly breaking our laws. They believe, yeah,
okay, hold on,
coming
chat,
over for a better life.
Chat, guys, I'm not even play devil's advocate, chat. I'm just gonna ask a question. Chat, if it's illegal to cross without proper identification, right? If you cross illegally, doesn't that by default make you instantly, when you spawn in, a criminal? Aren't you, the second that you put one toe in, you are by definition a criminal according to the definition of the law, yo?
They're still breaking our laws. So if you can't come in legally, sorry, I don't want you here. We are a nation of laws. So you can say, bring your, your poor, your whatever. Yeah. Let me tell you something. We're a nation.
Even if you claim asylum, you still have to claim that, right? And you have to be accepted as asylum thing, regardless.
Laws. You want to, my wife here.
If you walk in and then you get caught and then you claim asylum, that's not the same thing as saying asylum on the way in.
Years ago.
How easy was it for your parents to immigrate here?
Oh gosh, that was many years ago.
Before she was born.
Yeah. All I know is that my dad left when he was 19 and came over here, and the only time he went back was to marry my mother, and then it took about a year to get her paperwork ready to bring her over.
So it took about a year for the citizenship, like green card process to go through, right?
Yes, for her to come, yeah.
And then it took years to get your citizenship. I mean, I had a guy that I worked with several years ago that he had been in the process for a long time from India. Great guy. Yeah. And he invited me to the day that he was going to, take the oath and all that. He was so excited about it.
Yeah.
Today, you compare that to what you have going on right now at our southern border. Yeah. We're destroying our country.
Here we are. God's army has arrived in totality. We're supposed to be 70,000 divine soldiers. It's probably about 600, but they're here. They're taking the border back, I think, by means of classic rock covers and t-shirt sales. Aside from being a mellow, chill Saturday afternoon vibe, there's a lot of Christian vibes going on because, after all, this is God's army. They're saying that if God was here, he'd be here right now taking the freaking border back because this is a war between good versus evil. Good is the American tax-paying patriot. Evil is the migrants, the communists, the cartels, the Biden administration, the Epstein flight list, and everybody else. But I feel like they might not realize that Mexico is like 95% Catholic, so it's possible that God's true army is in fact Mexicans. But hey, I didn't want to go there, but I guess I did. With the election coming up and stuff, I'm trying to give the conservative crowd more fair coverage overall. I think a lot of people, for some reason, especially because of the way that the HBO movie was produced, that I'm some type of like MAGA hater. And there's a lot of people online whose whole career and shtick is trying to make conservatives look as stupid as possible. And I think it's super counterproductive, and I think that it's led to a net negative in terms of mutual humanity and political understanding. So I hope that when you watch this, you don't go away thinking, damn, these people are so stupid, but you look at
the problem is that a lot of viewpoints are correct. The way they're voiced, the way they say it, and all the other arguments that are in that favor are all fucking brain dead. That's the main problem to both sides, that a lot of times the actual, the main thought is pretty decent and has good, it's everything else in the way that they were, that's just so stupid.
the underlying motivations and causes that are making them think this way. And one thing that we mentioned we heard a lot about.
If I say, chat, if you're in a car, right, do not go on a red light. Do not cross on a red light, right? Okay, why? Oh, because otherwise red means devil, and the devil will strike you down, and God will not accept you into the gates of heaven. That's why. Okay, well, I mean, you could have just fucking gave me the definition of why you don't go on a red light, but okay, sure.
The lack of benefits for veterans.
That's kind of how it goes, though.
The
way that they avoid their shit.
I cannot live on Social Security. I have to have something else coming in.
A lot of it does fall on the government not looking after its own people, which you'd think would actually kind of shift them further left and make them favor socialism and more beneficial social programs. But instead, somehow, the problem is migrants. I wonder that between the mainstream journalists here to make them look stupid, people selling, parking passes and T-shirts and subscriptions to their conservative websites, and just lonely people who are just falling for the propaganda and the Kool-Aid of it all. I wonder if there's anyone outside that triangular formation, because I don't think anyone here is like really that pissed off. But I do have this vision, like what would happen if like a bunch of migrants just like hopped the border right here and just like didn't realize they had picked the worst spot in the world. They just come out of the water, they like walk up, and they're just around all these people who have like seemingly never encountered one in their life, and they're just like, you're voting for Biden. I don't even think they can vote, but hey, I don't know. The vibes are good for me. I think it's time to get the hell out of here, guys.
I don't think they can vote.
On the way out of town, we went to a gas
station.
I'm
pretty the agreement is the same for like Mexico and Canada, right? Like, or some shit because of the treaties or whatever. It's easy Canadians to like come in, right, or whatever. But I can't vote, guys. I'm a permanent resident of the United States. My life is in the United States. And I can't vote.
And into a bus full of Christians, pro-migrant Christians though, who apparently were sent by a nonprofit from Minnesota called Vote Common Good. They told us they'd just been kicked out of the rally by
I wouldn't anyway.
But still, we're down to give us an interview. And I figured it'd be good to get a different Christian perspective on this issue.
My name is Doug Padgett, and I'm the executive director of this group called Vote Common Good. I'm an evangelical pastor that thinks faith, open love should create a democracy open to all, and we have to resist Christian nationalism. And this trucker brigade is coming in here telling a bunch of slanderous lies about the border and migrants.
What do you think are the main lies being told by the truckers?
And they're saying there's an invasion. There's not an invasion. There are people seeking legal entrance into the country.
These people are legally applying for asylum. It's a Geneva Convention right.
They're telling us that they're bringing in drugs. Less than 0.02% of fentanyl comes from people that are migrants coming in the country. It's coming through buses and trucks and boats and airplanes. They're telling us that their job is to be Christians who are the militia to protect this country. We don't need them to be protecting us from anything. We need to be protected from any Christian who thinks that they should be taking up arms to protect the southern border or northern border of this country.
What do you think Jesus would do in this given situation?
Well, I think likely...
regardless, you can claim asylum, right? But if you come from a country like in Europe or some shit, like way out, and there are other options before you make it to America, I think these options have to be taken first. You can't just fucking jump, like, do like a bunch of trains, planes, boats, and go around and say, yo guys, asylum. Asylum is like, if there are a lot of options before you make it there, you have to go there first. That's just kind of how it is. That's how it works.
Would be on the other side of
you can't
that
just
border,
fucking go across the map,
the migrant,
and TP out the best fucking spawn in.
He'd be sure he's thinking about the people on the other side, and he'd be calling us to love one another.
Subconsciously, what do you think drives a lot of these people to harbor such resentments toward migrants?
It's a great question. Look, if somebody gets in a vehicle and travels down to the border of the United States and Mexico, they care about this. We did it.
You can Google it.
They care about it. Now, are they motivated by some fear? Have they been lied to? We think so. Are they choosing to only listen to one side of the story? We think so.
Right.
But these are people who believe they're doing the right thing. We're going to start there.
Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry.
We think you want to do the right thing. Can we help you understand from our perspective what the more right thing is?
Yeah.
Because if you understood the border, if you weren't 25 miles away, hoarded away inside of a Christian camp, and we're down here in Eagle Pass, or went up to Del Rio, or went to Laredo, these are beautiful, safe towns full of good people. and they're trying to help other people that are fleeing the very injustice that these people think they're coming here to protect America from.
They're misinformed, they're missing the point, and if they're serious about Jesus, they'd be bringing water and food and clothes to these people instead of lies and fear. These are American stories. We celebrate the stories of people traveling on boats to America, or our ancestors, whatever. This is the
I
new
don't know much
Ellis
about
Island
Jesus. I don't know what he
moment
would
for so
do.
many families.
Then
They're
meet him.
traveling thousands of miles, and we've heard so many of their stories, the hardships they've gone through, the harrowing, danger they've been in, and they're coming here because they think America is worth coming to.
We have very deep concern about the danger the migrants face when they have to cross a river. We have very deep concerns about the danger the migrants face when our border policies force them to be trafficked by drug cartels. We have very deep concerns about the safety of migrants overall. And we want to make sure that other people know, first of all, that there's other Americans who disagree with that, and there's other Christians that disagree with it. And often what happens is we get in this battle where we say to people, you need to be quiet so I can talk. We don't want anyone to be quiet. We want everyone to speak up.
Yeah.
If they've got something to say, they should say it. And
I'm
everybody else who has something to say, they should
Wrong.
say it. But the solution is not more hate. The solution is
People
more
like me shouldn't
engagement.
be allowed to talk.
Channel
5 live worldwide. No, I disagree. I shouldn't be allowed to have takes, but I'm allowed, so I have them anyway. I have sub-zero IQ, chat. I should not have takes. Yet, I say them all the time, dude. We just got dropped. I have them all the time. Problem? Censorship? Censor me. Censor me. If I have a big platform and I say zero IQ shit, it should be censored.